March 17, 1962. The White House sub-basement, 2:13 a.m. Secret Service agent Abraham Bolden stood frozen in a corridor that officially didn't exist, holding a file that could destroy the government or get him killed. The folder was stamped Omega File in red ink, and inside were 89 pages documenting something impossible: a coordinated conspiracy within the U.S. government to remove President Kennedy from power. The file had been compiled by Kennedy himself over 10 months, hidden in a vault only 3 people knew existed. Bolden had been ordered to retrieve it and deliver it to Robert Kennedy immediately. But first he had to read what was inside. Page 1 made his blood run cold. "They're planning to kill me. This file is the evidence." Part 1, The Discovery. May 1961, 2 weeks after Bay of Pigs. Kennedy sat alone in the Oval Office at midnight, reading a CIA memo that had been accidentally included in his briefing. The document discussed executive action capabilities, agency code for assassination. What made Kennedy's hands tremble wasn't just that the CIA could kill foreign leaders. It was the notation in the margin: domestic application under consideration for national security threats. Kennedy called Robert to the White House immediately. "Bobby, I think they're planning to remove me. Not impeachment, something permanent." That night, Kennedy began building the Omega File, a secret archive documenting every threat, every lie, every conspiracy against his presidency. He installed hidden recording equipment throughout the White House. He recruited intelligence sources inside the CIA. He prepared evidence for the day when the shadow government would make its move. He knew they would try to kill him. He just didn't know when. Part 2, The Enemies List. June 1961, November 1963. Mapping the conspiracy. Over 2 years, Kennedy identified 47 individuals coordinating against him. The intelligence network, Allen Dulles, fired CIA director still controlling officers from outside. James Angleton, CIA counterintelligence chief running unauthorized operations. William Harvey, openly calling Kennedy a traitor. The military leadership, General Curtis LeMay, demanding nuclear war during Cuban Missile Crisis. Admiral George Anderson, telling Kennedy the Navy doesn't take orders from the president. The financial powers, Federal Reserve officials furious about Kennedy's Executive Order 1-11-1 attempting to issue silver certificates, bypassing their monetary control. The political enemies, J. Edgar Hoover, blackmailing Kennedy with affair evidence. Lyndon Johnson, facing corruption investigations Kennedy refused to stop. Southern Democrats, enraged by civil rights initiatives. Kennedy's recordings captured all of them discussing his removal in coded language. By October 1963, he had documented 127 separate conversations about eliminating him as an obstacle to national security. Part 3, The Cuban Betrayal. October 1962. The secret that sealed his fate. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy made a secret deal with Khrushchev. Soviets remove missiles from Cuba, U.S. removes missiles from Turkey, and most critically, America promises never to invade Cuba. The military and CIA considered this treason. Kennedy's recordings captured General LeMay's reaction: "This is the worst defeat in American history. We had them. We could have eliminated Castro in the Soviet presence, but you chose appeasement." Kennedy's response: "I chose survival over your pride, General." What Kennedy didn't know yet was that this moment transformed the conspiracy from discussion to action. A CIA memo dated November 2, 1962, intercepted by Kennedy's intelligence network stated, "Presidential weakness on Cuba represents clear and present danger to national security. Alternative executive arrangements must be explored." Translation: They had decided to kill him. Part 4, The Vietnam Trigger. October 11, 1963. Kennedy signed National Security Action Memorandum 263, ordering withdrawal of 1,000 military advisors from Vietnam by year's end, with full withdrawal by 1965. Within 24 hours, Kennedy received 3 anonymous threats: "Arm waitslet our note on his car, presidents are replaceable." A phone call to the White House, "Dallas is waiting." A message through Secret Service, "Vietnam withdrawal, career suicide." Kennedy added everything to the Omega File with his own notation: "They're not even pretending anymore. They're openly threatening my life over refusing to commit to their war." Defense contractors stood to lose billions. The Pentagon saw it as betrayal. The CIA viewed it as proof Kennedy was soft on communism. Together they decided he had to go. Part 5, The Monetary Revolution. June 4, 1963. Executive Order 1015. This order authorized the Treasury to issue silver certificates, allowing the government to create currency without the Federal Reserve. To the banking establishment, this was existential threat. Kennedy's surveillance captured a meeting between Treasury Secretary Douglas Dillon and 3 bankers. "The president doesn't understand what he's tampering with. If he continues, there will be consequences, severe consequences." "Dillon, are you threatening, banker? We're explaining reality. Systems this important don't change because one president has unconventional ideas." They're protected by any means necessary. 2 weeks later, $4.3 billion in silver certificates were printed. The Federal Reserve joined the conspiracy to remove Kennedy. Part 6. The Hoover Blackmail. July 1963. The FBI Director's Ultimatum. J. Edgar Hoover had files on Kennedy's affairs. Marilyn Monroe, Judith Campbell Exner with mob connections, others. He used them to maintain his FBI position despite Kennedy wanting him gone. A recorded July 16 conversation. Hoover, Mr. President, certain associates of yours have problematic connections. This could be damaging if public. JFK, I know what you're doing, Director, and I'm done. Release whatever you want. I'm not backing down on civil rights or organized crime prosecutions, and you're gone after 1964. Hoover, JFK, are you threatening me? Hoover, I'm informing you of consequences. After the call, Kennedy told Robert, Hoover just threatened the president. We're living in a police state, and nobody realizes it. Kennedy added to the Omega file, Hoover will cooperate with whoever moves against me. The FBI won't protect me. They might help kill me. Johnson faced multiple scandals: Bobby Baker corruption, Billy Sol Estes fraud and murder allegations, Malcolm Wallace connections to suspicious deaths. Kennedy was considering dropping Johnson from the 1964 ticket. Robert Kennedy was investigating Johnson's crimes. If Kennedy lived, Johnson faced prison. If Kennedy died, Johnson became president, and all investigations disappeared. A Secret Service report from November 19. Vice President Johnson inquired about Dallas security with unusual specificity, asked about motorcade route, hospital protocols, succession procedures. When questioned, stated just want to understand logistics, behavior noted as abnormal. The night before the assassination, Johnson attended a party at Clint Murchison's Dallas mansion with J. Edgar Hoover, Richard Nixon, and Texas oil barons. According to LBJ's mistress Madeline Brown, Johnson emerged saying, after tomorrow, those goddamn Kennedys will never embarrass me again. Part 8. The Omega Protocol. November 21. Kennedy's final insurance. Kennedy knew Dallas was a trap. Multiple warnings told him not to go, but canceling would appear weak, so he activated Omega Protocol, compiling everything into one file, 304 pages of evidence, names of 47 conspirators, 89 recorded conversations showing threats, financial records linking contractors to anti-Kennedy operations, CIA memos discussing executive action, Federal Reserve correspondence threatening consequences, FBI blackmail materials, evidence of Johnson's corruption, Secret Service reports showing deliberate security failures for Dallas. Kennedy sealed it in a case and gave it to his secretary Evelyn Lincoln. If I'm killed in Dallas, take this to Bobby immediately. Wait until it's safe, then release everything. Make sure Americans know their president was murdered by his own government. Kennedy recorded his final message November 21 at 11:43 p.m. If you're hearing this, I'm dead. Oswald or whoever they framed didn't act alone. I was killed because I refused to send Americans to die in Vietnam. Because I challenged the Federal Reserve. Because I tried to make peace instead of war. Because I believe the president works for the people, not the military-industrial complex. Bobby, release this when safe. Make them pay. Don't let them get away with murdering the president. Part 9. November 22, 1963, 12:30 p.m. The execution. Everything Kennedy predicted came true. Sarker the security deliberately reduced. Motorcade route changed to create vulnerability. Multiple shooters' witnesses reported shots from different directions. Kennedy's head snapped backward frontal shot, contradicting lone gunman theory. Evidence immediately destroyed. Limousine cleaned. Autopsy controlled. Oswald killed 48 hours later by Jack Ruby, silencing him forever. Allen Dulles appointed to Warren Commission to ensure cover-up. The conspiracy had executed perfectly. Part 10. The 60-year cover-up. 1963-2024. Protecting the secret. The Omega file moved through a secret network. 1963-1968. Robert Kennedy. 1968-2004. Ethel Kennedy. After RFK's assassination. 2004-2024. Kennedy family lawyer and investigative journalist. For 60 years, the CIA, FBI, and Pentagon fought to keep it classified. Multiple lawsuits claimed national security. Witnesses were harassed. Evidence was destroyed. But in October 2024, the final seal expired. The Omega file was released. Part 11. The Revelation. October 2024. The truth emerges. The Omega file proved everything. The conspiracy was real. 47 individuals from CIA, military, FBI, Federal Reserve, coordinated Kennedy's murder. Kennedy predicted it. He documented threats for 3 years, accurately predicting Dallas. Multiple shooters. Ballistics proved at least 3 firing positions. Oswald was a patsy. CIA records showed he was monitored and manipulated. Johnson had foreknowledge. Evidence suggested LBJ knew and positioned himself to benefit. The cover-up was systematic. FBI, CIA, Warren Commission deliberately suppressed evidence. Institutional response. CIA, certain officers acted beyond authority. We apologize but deny institutional involvement. FBI, these claims contradict established findings. Pentagon, baseless allegations, but independent analysis confirmed everything. Document forensics verified authenticity. Audio analysis confirmed Kennedy's voice. Cross-referencing with declassified materials showed consistency. By December 2024, mainstream historians acknowledged JFK was killed by a domestic conspiracy involving government actors. Part 12. The names. Who killed Kennedy? Cardinal Allen Dulles, former CIA director, primary coordinator. Motive: revenge for being fired. Evidence: recorded meetings discussing Kennedy problem. Bishop James Angleton, CIA counterintelligence. Motive: believed Kennedy was soft on communism. Evidence: coordination of Dallas security failures. Rook Lyndon Johnson, vice president. Motive: facing political destruction. Evidence: advanced knowledge suspicious behavior. November 21 for Kennite J. Edgar Hoover, FBI director. Motive: Kennedy planned to remove him. Evidence: immediate cover-up. Witness: intimidation. Castle, Federal Reserve official. Motive: EO 11110, threatened banking system. Evidence: financial records showing payments. All deceased, but their roles are now historical fact. Epilogue: Kennedy's final warning. The last document in the Omega file. A letter to the American people. November 2024. My fellow Americans, I've been dead 61 years. You finally know the truth. I was murdered by my own government, not by foreign enemies, by Americans who decided I threatened their power and profits. I was killed for refusing to send your sons to die in Vietnam, for challenging the Federal Reserve, for choosing peace over war, for believing the president should serve the people, not the military-industrial complex. They thought they were protecting America. They were wrong. They proved that democracy is fragile, that elections can be overridden by bullets, that unelected power structures can veto the people's will. I don't know what America looks like in 2024, but I hope you've learned from my death. I hope you've created safeguards to prevent the shadow government from ever murdering a president again. Power doesn't surrender itself. It must be taken back. That's your job now. You know the truth. The question is, what will you do about it? Will you demand accountability? Reform these institutions? Ensure no president is murdered again for challenging the shadow government? Or will you shrug and say, that was long ago? I hope you choose accountability. Because if you don't, another president might face my choice. Comply or die. Fight for your democracy. It's worth dying for. I know, I did. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, November 21st.